Welcome to day 5. In this lecture series, we will learn about Databricks Utilities Notebook, where I'll access this notebook from other notebook. This is the reason I had created this as a child notebook here. You can see. Now, sometimes you will have to access one notebook in another notebook. Let's see how we can access this notebook into another parent notebook. For this, I'll have to run first DBUtils. This would be utils dot notebook dot help. So this would be connecting my compute resources, automatically connected to your most resource compute resources. If you want to see how many different compute resources are there in your notebook, you can come back here, press Control and click on compute. You will see it will open in a new tab here. You can see here I had only one cluster which I had created using unrestricted single user and minimum runtime version with node type which is allowed to me in Azure portal, and after 120 minutes this will be terminated. And I also uncheck this use photon acceleration here. You can see my DBO is very less because I have selected very less configuration here. Now go back here, come back. Inside this DBUtils notebook, you can see two modules are there. First is exit, second is run. What will happen if you will use this access? You can see this would be here. You can see so many notebooks are there. Those are using this notebook and exit, and we will be using these two functions modules here. Now let's say for this I'll have to create one variable here, A, and second variable B. Let's run. You can see this will be displayed here. And now I'm going to rerun another part which is relevant to the next variable, which is C equals to A plus B. This is mathematical expression. I'm going to evaluate A and B both values here. I want to print this value. This would be printing value of C. Alright. So now you can see this value is C. You will check the value of this C or the data type of this C. This is integer. Alright. What will happen? I'm going to use exit here, but before exit, I want to show something relevant, because what happened when I'm going to use this DBUtils dot notebook dot exit inside this exit module, I'm going to write format. Inside this format, I'm going to write notebook executed successfully and return. Alright, and here I'm going to write this one, and this would be C. Okay, so I'm going to write C here, and let's run this code. Can you see it's showing this 30 value here, which is the first part. Okay, so and I'm going to use the exit here. So basically what exit will do is it in this format, it's write exit in format. So exit will do, it is going to execute all the commands before that, and it is going to come here, and if ever there is an exit command, it is going to stop executing commands, executing the notebook at the particular time. The next command won't be executed here. It is going to return the value wherever you are going to enter that value. If I write anything here, any value here inside this part, you can see this would be the next value. If I write something given to this value which is given here, for example, I'm going to write print test, so it won't be executed by now, right? Now I'm going to create another notebook which is which will be access this child notebook. I'm going to create a new and click on notebook. This will open a new tab. Inside this notebook, I'm going to write something relevant to this value. So I'll have to rename it as parent. Delete it, just name it part 2 DBUtils notebook parent. So inside this, I'm going to write print and let's say run simple message in order to attach this compute resources. So this is connected with my recently created notebook. Can you see it's showing that hello value? Now I'm going to use DBUtils. Inside this DBUtils, I'm going to access my notebook. Inside this notebook, I'm going to run this module. If I'm going to run this module, I have to mention that file which is given here. So I'm going to copy A, cut C, and just paste it here and run. Can you see there might be some timeout parameters? So I'll have to give 60 here, which is timeout parameters. So after 60 seconds, this will be interrupted. So can you see this is showing notebook workflows and notebook is there, and this part is going to run in my sub boxes here. Okay, so this is going to invoke my part 1 DBUtils child notebook. Still it's running. Can you see it's showing notebook executed successfully and return 30. Okay, if you click on this notebook, it will open in a new tab. Can you see this is showing your child notebook everything? Okay, go back here. If you will find other tools, you will find that properties also. Okay, can you see this is end time, this is start time, or you want to see this in workflow? You can see this workflow is there. This workflow will be your job, your run. If you see this job runs, so this will be running in your job reps. Can you see this is going to run your part? Can you see success and one job is there already succeed here? Okay, so you can see this would be running in your job part. Okay, go back here. You can see this is showing first exit and second is run. Okay, so these two are different modules which we are going to run. Okay, so we are going to access this notebook in another notebook. This is showing the parent notebook which we access. Okay, so now I can click on this job notebook and which will lend you to workflow. This is workflow where we landed right now, and it is executing a job. Not like you can see this is showing all the jobs owned by me and all the job runs are there. So when it is executing as a job, there are two kinds of clusters. One is interactive and another is job. So it is executed as a job under workflow. Check all runs, you will find your jobs also. Can you see this is showing success value? Okay. Now go back here in a new notebook. I want to create a new notebook. Just click over here, and inside this new notebook, I'm going to access this value. Let's say this is a new notebook, and I'll have to rename it with some other values so that we can create another part of it. So in order to run other modules, I'll have to rename this notebook A, D, and I'm going to create a child parameter. I'm going to access some parameter, and we know how to use these parameters earlier in day 4 section. Now I'm going to write DBUtils in this notebook also, part 3, and I'm going to use notebook module. Just click on this help to invoke my cluster and running so that I can connect my compute resources which is recently created by me. Once it is connected, you can see again we had exit and run modules. Now I'm going to use this DBUtils. Inside this DBUtils, I'm going to use widgets. Inside this widgets, I'm going to use text inside this text, I'm going to pass this name and default value. First, pass this name parameter. So I'm just passing this name as A, and now allow me to pass this default value, and I'm going to keep it as empty. And now I'm going to pass third parameter, which is label. I'm going to assign enter value of A. Alright, so I'm going to copy this command, Control A, Control C, and just hit enter for my next variable, which is variable B. Just replace by B here and enter default value, enter value of B here. Now I'm going to run this code. Can you see this is going to run, but I cannot see any value here. So I'll have to run that get function. So I'm going to assign this A with this DBUtils again, with this widgets, because I'm going to create the text box. You can see this is showing text box A and B here at the top. So this is text box A and this is text box B. Now go back here in your coding part using the code hard code. I'm going to get function here. So inside this get function, I'm going to code this A, and in a similar way, I'm going to copy this line in cell and just rename A by B here. Now go back here in B, going to run this cell. We do not have anything because I have not entered anything. I just write 12 and just write 45. If I run this code and just adding this value C equals to A plus B, then run this expressions as well. It's going to print this expression, and finally I'm going to print C. When you will find this output, it is showing 1245. Not what is the value of summation of 12 plus 45. It should be printed 7 and then it should be 57. But it's not showing 57, rather it's showing 1245. This is just because of this string value. We had A and B as string format, not integer format. So I'll have to convert in string formats. What I'll do here, I'll just go back here and just assign round parenthesis. Before this, I'll just run into, I just type integer here. I'll do the same process for my B variable B. Just come back here, go for integer and run this cell, and just run this C as well. Just print C. Can you see now it's showing 57? You can see this code is totally depending upon your data type as well. Now your widgets as well. Let's say I'm going to enter 45 and this is 74. Click anywhere. You can see it's not going to run this cell or not going to run this anywhere. So what you will have to do, you will have to come back here, here inside setting, go run access command, go for run code book, close it, and whenever you are going to run and just click anywhere, you will find it's going to run every cell here. Now let's assign very simple code here. Inside this I'm going to assign 25. Let's say assign 20. Let's assign 50 and click anywhere. Can you see 50 plus 20 is 70 here? It's not only running all these cells but also giving that output. Now I want to access this part 3 notebook in another cell. So what I'll do, I'll click on this new, click on this notebook. This would be fourth notebook I'm going to create. Inside this notebook, I want to access my third notebook. This would be fourth notebook. So what is the name of this fourth book? It is part 3 DBUtils notebook, utils child parameters using widget. So I'm going to access this value, and let's first rename it part C and part, going to parameterize it. Now inside this cell, I'm going to print hello, just writing this code so that I can invoke my cluster. Here I had automatically corrected this resource here. And next what I'll do, I'll access my DBUtils dot notebook, which we have done in part 3. And now I'm going to run this code. Run. Inside this run, I'll have to pass my notebook, which is part 3. Can you see? I have to copy this name so that I can invoke this file, this one. And now let's pass parameters. Now after 60, I'll have to pass my inputs. So let's run this code if we are getting the correct output or not. So if you are going to run this cell, you will find you are accessing another cell, which is port 3. But are we getting this output? So I'm going to click on this one so that we can access here inside this workflow. And it's also running or invoking my cluster so that I can access this one. Can you see status is failed? Workload, see run output for details.